yogis, nice to have you all join me. I'm going to lead us through kind of a heart opening flow today. And for your practice, you're going to want a couple props. If you have a yoga block, grab one. If not, it's not a big deal. You'll still be able to find the poses, and I will offer modification when I'm going to prompt with that. And then a blanket or a towel, and I've got mine rolled up to a tight little cylinder here. And what I'm going to do is just put it in the middle of my mat. So we're going to start using this towel / blanket, whatever you've got on hand. All right, from there, come onto your mats. Take that blanket right up to the base of your spine, and then you're going to roll directly on top of it. So your spine is rested right on top of that blanket. Now, depending on the size of your blanket or towel, your head may just kind of fall to the ground. If that feels like too much, just hit the pause button, go grab yourself like a little hand towel, and then place it just right underneath your head so that your throat isn't opening as much. If you're liking the opening and ready to go right into it, just leave it as it is. And then start to take a couple deep, calming breaths. Allow the belly to rise and fall, so that you're intentionally letting the breath move into its fullest expression. It's not just staying up in the shoulders and chest, but it's going deeply through the lungs. And with each breath, just finding yourself a little bit more relaxed into the space. I'm going to guide us through a heart-opening practice today with this intention, this idea of groundlessness in mind. So the idea of groundlessness, or you might think of it as impermanence, can be a scary thing to face, but it is our reality. Nothing is fixed. Everything is constantly changing. And the truth is, each moment offers new challenges and opportunities for us. And we can't possibly know what to expect. And so, with that intention in mind and having us relax into that space and challenging us to relax into that space, finding yourself open to it, open to the idea of groundlessness, and we're doing that physically right now by just allowing our heart to be more open and breathing through any of the sensations or feelings that arise as you contemplate that sense of groundlessness. Good. Give me a couple more breaths. And last one. Good. Now reach your arms up toward the ceiling and then behind you. Stretch it out, and then you're just going to roll over onto the side, just rolling off of your towel or your blanket. Just taking a moment here just to rest. One more breath. And then from there, just press yourself up, find a comfortable seated position. You can move your blanket out of the way. We're going to take 3 breaths together. Exhale everything out first. Shh. Deep breath in. And out. Good. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. Big breath in. Let it go. Good. If your eyes are closed, just blink them open. And then from there, just reach your arms up toward the ceining. Shoulders drawn down, and exhale, hands to the heart. Good, reach them back up. Inhale, and exhale, pull in. One more time, breathe in, reach up nice and long. And exhale back to your heart. Good, now from here, just take your hands behind you. And what we're gonna do is just kind of open up into a reverse tabletop position. So got my fingertips facing my hips, and I'm gonna extend my feet long. And you're probably gonna be on your mat. I've just turned so that I can face you, but you can be on your entire sticky mat, and then lift up your hips and drop the heart back and soften back down. Good, give me 2 more of those. Inhale, lift up. And there's the wall behind me. Exhale, fold back down. Good, one more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, just drop the hips back down. Good, now from here, back to that cross-legged position, but this time, reverse the cross. So if you had always go with one shin in front, switch it up, so the opposite shin's in front. And then hands back to your heart. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, take a little back bend. Just draw the elbows open to the side, lift the heart. Maybe take the gaze high. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, draw it open. Good, inhale, lengthen up. And then hands to your heart. And then from there, let's make our way into a downward facing dog or tabletop for modification. So tabletop, just like this, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, or you're in downward facing dog with the hips up nice and high. And let's find a little movement. So I'm gonna bend one knee, then the other, rock my hips side to side, shake out my head. If I'm in tabletop, I would just look toward my side. Maybe I do some cat-cow poses, rounding the spine. Finding flexion and extension in the spine in tabletop. Good, and then start to find stillness wherever you are. Really press into the mat. Find that engagement. And then soften into it. So softening the heart down toward the mat a little bit more. Deep breath in. Exhale, walk your feet forward, come to the top of your mat. Find yourself in ragdoll. That's just a nice, soothing forward fold. Your feet are rooted to the ground, and you're gonna grab opposite elbow here. Just soften your head toward the ground, and then sway just a little bit, forward and back, side to side. This just helps signal the body that it's okay to surrender just a little bit more to gravity. Let go just a little bit more. And then from there, we're going to release our hands toward the mat and then draw our hands up toward our sacrum and interlace your fingers there. Chest expansion, knuckles drop up and back, and you're going to bow down. You can bend your knees a lot if your hamstrings are feeling really tight today, or start to extend a little bit. Just be kind to the body. Don't need to go to the fullest edge here. Good, one more breath. And tuck your chin to your chest. Keep your hands interlaced, and let's just slowly start to roll up one vertebra at a time. And once you get all the way up to standing, draw the knuckles down, lift the heart up high, roll the shoulders down and back. And then exhale, make your way back down, nice flat back. Hands can stay interlaced. And let the knuckles fall forward again. Good, and then release your hands to your sacrum and then lower them all the way down to the mat. And from here, toe heel your feet to touch. And let's take a halfway lift. Inhale, nice long spine, flat back, belly button draws toward the spine. Exhale, fold. 2 more times. Inhale, halfway lift, reach the crown of the head forward. Tailbone draws back, shoulders draw back. Exhale, fold. One more time, inhale, halfway lift. Find strength and length. Exhale, fold. Good, now let's root down through our feet. And slowly come all the way up, letting the hands just be heavy here, chin to chest. And then arms reach up high, Urdhva Tadasana. Good, let's open up, find a back bend. Open your heart, draw your elbows nice and wide. Send the hips forward, take energy in between the inner thighs and drop back. Good, one more breath. Inhale, arms reach back up. Exhale, hands through heart center, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Tadasana, all the way up. Let's open up again, find that back bend. Good, so your core is strong. That's what's supporting you here. You want to find some integrity there in the core. Pulling your belly towards your spine. Lift the hips up a little higher. Engage inner thighs. One more breath. And then inhale, arms high. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back, find downward facing dog. If you'd like to practice chaturanga, feel free to take that on the way. Otherwise, hang out in down dog for a couple breaths. Nice, steady breath. My heels are disappearing behind my toes. Reaching my heels toward the ground without the expectation of them touching, but just the expectation of them, the backs of my legs lengthening. One more breath. Good, now from here, reach your right leg up high. Find a three-legged dog. So my toes are pointing down, my right hip's pointing down. I'm pressing evenly into my hands. And then I'm going to take my knee nice and slow, like I'm moving through water, knee toward my belly, then my chest, then my nose, and then I'm going to step my foot in between my hands for a low lunge. Good, now from here, low back knee drops down for low crescent. And you're going to tuck your tailbone, lean into it, arms reach up, sweep them up high, inhale. Exhale, draw your elbows open, lift your chest, expand through your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up high. Exhale, shift back, half Hanuman. I'm just going to get a quick stretch in the hamstring. You're shifting so that your left hip is stacked over your left knee, and you're extending through the right leg and pulling that right hip back. One more breath. And then rebend that front knee, rise up, low crescent lunge, back into that back bend. Open up the heart, take the gaze with you, and then reach the arms up high. Exhale, plant the hands down, step back, high plank. So again, there's lots of ways to do this. You can decide that actually, no thank you, I'm going to come into something different. Maybe you come into tabletop. So feel free to move your way into tabletop here instead of high plank. Now the other option is to move through a chaturanga. So either you're holding a high plank or you're finding movement. So changing forward for chaturanga, lowering down, elbows at 90, and then drawing your heart up and through upward facing dog. Exhale, bring it back, downward facing dog. So you make this your practice and you adjust and modify as works for your body in this moment. Inhale, left leg high. Good, really extend through that top leg. Press through the hands evenly. Keep the left hip bone pointing down, and then from here, exhale, take your knee towards your belly, then your chest, then your nose, and step it through. Find your low lunge. Good, now let's drop the back knee down. Inhale, low crescent, arms sweep up. Protect the tailbone. Lean into it, and draw yourself into that back bend. Open up, elbows come out. Heart lifts high. Inhale, arms reach back up. Exhale, half Hanuman, half splits. I don't know if you heard that, but Cecily just, with her typical emphasis, just yelled daddy very loudly. She's got a lot of vibrancy for life, that's for sure. All right, gonna hug that left hip back. One more breath here. And then we bend the front knee, inhale, rise back up, low crescent, move into that back bend. Open through the heart. And then reach the arms up. Exhale, plant your hands down. Step back, find tabletop or high plank. Now this time we're going a little differently. We're gonna hold first, so just stay with me for a second. So you're either in tabletop and you're extending the crown of the head forward, tailbone back. Same thing really with high plank, that extension needs to happen. And then I'm gonna really press down into the mat and I'm gonna kind of turn the energy of my hands toward my pinkies like I'm opening up a jar. And I'm gonna really activate through my shoulders. Extend through the crown of the head more. Pull my belly toward my spine, engage in your thighs, drawing them up. One more breath. 5 counts now to lower to the belly. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, once you're there, we're gonna do a little bit of more heart opening, but we're gonna do it from the ground. So, starting off with Cobra, Bhujangasana, hands underneath the shoulders. Tops of the feet down on the mat. This is a baby Cobra, so we're just gonna lift up a little bit. So first, activating by pressing down through the tops of the feet, lifting the kneecaps, and then squeeze the back, lower back, and then lift the chest up. And then as soon as you lift the chest up, your gaze is down, maybe slightly forward, but down for sure. Finding a nice long line in the spine. So we're reaching our heart toward the ground as we draw the shoulders back. One more breath. Exhale, release down. Good, now from here, let's do a full Cobra. So what we're gonna do is sit up exact same way, hands underneath the shoulders, and then press up through our hands. So now, I'm kind of doing this energy where I'm pulling my heart through. Find that nice extension in the spine, soften the shoulders away from the ears. One more breath, and release down. Good, now this one is a personal favorite, Super Cobra. You're gonna tent your hands, which means you're gonna take just your fingertips down on the ground. You're gonna come off your mat with them, but your hands are gonna be in line with the shoulders. And once you have that connection with the fingertips on the ground, there's this energy drawing toward the center. So drawing toward the center of the palm. So while your palm is lifted off the ground, you feel this nice energy pulling it up even further. When you're ready, take your feet about hip width distance, press down through the tops of the feet, engage low back, and then start to lift. Good, now first, we're not really gonna do much in terms of pressing into the fingers. So just lift enough to where you can hold that without really pressing too much into the hands. Breathe. Now press more into the fingers, lift up more. Pull the heart through. Good, now from there, optional. Lift your pinky on both hands, lift the ring finger, next finger, next, hold. Draw your hands back. Good, one more breath. And slowly lower down. Good, take a deep breath in. Let it go. And then press yourself into tabletop. Let's do a couple rounds of cat-cow, round through the spine, open through the heart. Good, 2 more. And then neutral spine and downward facing dog. Okay, big breath in here. Let it go. One more big breath in. And out. Good, right leg sweeps up high. Exhale, draw your knee toward your nose, nice and slow. Step it through in between your hands, low lunge. Inhale, let's rise up for crescent lunge. Reach your arms up high. Exhale, open up, find that back bend. Good, inhale, reach back up. Now from here, I'm gonna have you take your hands to your heart, bend your back knee so that it hovers off the mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up, lengthen up. Exhale, bend down. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, down. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, just the hands to the heart. And then we're going to step forward so that our left foot meets the right. On a deep breath in. Exhale, press into the right foot, and then step forward. Good. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, take that back bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Now from here, you stay facing the way you are. I'm going to turn just so that I can see you, or well, you can see me. And then we're going to do some dancers. So from here, arms are up, and you're going to drop your right elbow towards your right hip. Good, and then from there, bend the right knee, capture the foot. And then notice how my knee is kind of out. I'm going to pull it in, so I'm coming more midline now. Reach up a little further, and then kick your foot into your hand. Nice. As you do that, really experience that sense of groundlessness, where there's this shifting happening in this pose. Lengthening on the inhale, exhaling to extend. And I never know, honestly, how it's going to go for me each time I do this one. Either I'm going to fall out, which is totally fine. It helps you to kind of find your edge. Or I'm going to hold. Maybe I'll find more depth. Maybe I won't. I'm just kind of exploring that. Good, one more breath. And then release. Beautiful. So, deep breath in here. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, take that back bend. Send the hips forward, lift the heart high. Good, inhale, reach back up. Exhale, forward fold. We'll hit the other side in a moment. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back. Find your high plank or come right into tabletop. Either hold or move through vinyasa. Lowering down, moving with the breath. And exhale down. Hey, deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. And out. Left side, left leg comes up nice and high. Exhale, knee to the nose. And then right in between the hands. And then from there, find that connection here with the legs so that you're drawing to the midline, and when you're ready, rise all the way up, finding your full crescent. Breathe. Good, nice deep breath in and out. Let's take a back bend. Open up, lifting the heart nice and high. Inhale, arms sweep back up. Now you can stay on your knee, by the way, the back knee if you prefer in doing this pose. You can modify there. Hands to the heart. Good, inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, bend that back knee, lower and hover. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swing it down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Let's do one more for good measure. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good, inhale, lift. Hold. Hands to the heart. Good. Now we're going to step it forward again, so take a deep breath in first. On the exhale, press into that left foot. Send your right foot to meet the left. Good, now dancers on the other side. So on this side, reaching the arms up, and dropping the left elbow down, bending at the left knee, capturing the foot, zip it up together, lengthen up tall, and then from there, kick your foot into your hand. And find that extension. Now, me hinging forward has not needed for this pose. That's happening because I'm kicking a lot into my backhand. I could stay completely upright here and still find benefits, a lot of benefits for this pose. So I get that in the magazines and the pictures it's to come forward, but that really should only happen if you're kicking so strongly into that backhand. So it depends on how much you want to kick today, right? Squeeze that left glute. Notice how my hip's popping out. I'm going to squeeze it in. That left glute, yep. I'm going to dial my left hip down a little more. One more breath. And then release. Good, arms come up high. Then you're back at the top of your mat. And I'm going to mirror you now. And let's find a back bend. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, forward fold. Good, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into your high plank. move into your downward facing dog. Good, take a deep breath in. Let it go. Now right leg, sweep it up high, inhale. Exhale, knee towards your nose, but then shift the knee over toward the right wrist. Find your half pigeon. All right, so for this pose, to cue it today with the prop. So you have a rolled up blanket, which is personally my favorite way to do this pose. Take it underneath that right hip and bring it underneath that glute. So now what's happening is you can ease into that. Now my heel is quite close to my groin, which is going to make this less intense for me. That's where I want to be today. If I wanted more intensity, I would draw, so my shin was more parallel to the mat. I'm going to activate my right toes so they're flexed. And then from there, I'm going to just kind of sink into it before I fold. So what I notice a lot with this pose is people grip against it. I get it. It's off for most bodies, not super easy to hold. But try your best to soften around the bolster or the blanket. And when you're ready, you can stay here, you can stay lifted, or you might fold down for sleeping pigeon. And I will either take my fists and stack them and put my head there. Sometimes that feels good, particularly if I want a pressure point on my head, if I have any sinus pressure, or I'll just kind of fold all the way down. And you just do what's good for your body. Now, we're taking some time here to open up the hips because that will help us find deeper back bends. And even though we're focusing on opening the heart and finding more back bends today, I'm mindful that we need to kind of address the whole body. So just take another breath here. Ease into it some more. I mentioned relaxing into groundlessness. I want you to try that here, to relax into the pose, into the twists and turns of the pose. As you kind of hold it, you'll notice it changes. It's evolving even though we appear to be still. And then one more breath. And then when you're ready from there, just rise up to your palms. Just take a second here. And then when you're ready, you'll tuck the back toes. And I'm just going to leave my prop right here, but you can move it if you'd like. I'll lift my right leg up high. I like to lift the leg up as a counter pose. Sometimes I'll bend my knee, open my hip. And then when you're ready, find down dog. Good, left side, left leg high, inhale. Exhale, left knee comes toward the nose and then it swings out toward the left wrist. And then I'm going to kind of settle in again. So I've got that prop pretty much there. I'm just going to adjust it slightly so it's right under my hip. And then I'm going to stay lifted for a moment. And why I'm doing that is because I want to really allow that energy to kind of settle into the hips instead of gripping against it. I'm trying to sink down into it. And I have to be intentional about that. I do my breath. And then either stay right here or just fold yourself down. Melting down and finding whatever position works well for you. Now I am gazing toward the camera, but if you are resting your head down, just be mindful on maybe if you did one side of your head instead of straight on the forehead, just be mindful that you switch just to balance out the neck. I'll get that in afterwards. Again, sinking in, relaxing into it. Use your breath for that. Be with that feeling, that sensation in the hip. Take your mind right to it. Really just observe it and truly experience it instead of trying to avoid really noticing the feeling. Instead of trying to run away from it, embrace it, sit with it. today doing our best here to open up to uncertainty, open up to groundlessness and impermanence and change. And that means sitting with the feeling. One more breath. And then to come out, you'll come back to your palms if you've released down. And take a second there. We're not rushing here. And then when you're ready, just tuck your toes and lift your leg high. And do what you need to do to feel good here. And shake out the leg, lift it up, and then you open the hip. A lot of different options, really. And then when you're ready, release that foot down. Good, now from here, we're just going to drop the knees down to the mat. Move my blanket out of the way. And then from there, I'm going to come into camel, Ustrasana camel. If you have a block, grab it here. If you don't, that's okay. I can cue you in a way where you can still feel what I need you to feel by using this block. So for camel, you're going to come to stacking your hips over your knees. And I'm going to take my, my block in between my inner thighs. I'm doing that because I really want to engage, and that's going to help support my back bend. So I'm pressing into the block, almost like I'm going to shoot the block back. If you don't have a block, just imagine there's something there, and you're pressing into it. So you're really engaging the inner thigh muscles. And from there, hands will come to the low back, fingertips pointing down. And you're going to start to press the hips forward, send them forward as you continue to squeeze the inner thighs. And draw the heart up, 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 up. Start to drop the head back. Maybe that doesn't happen today, that's okay. I'm stopping here. This is as far as I want to go, but you can choose to continue to walk the gaze across the ceiling to the back wall. If you can see the crease of the back wall, meaning the floor, then release your hands to your heels. Continue to send your hips forward. Little sips of air here. Opening up through the throat. The opening up through the heart. Just truly embracing the moment. One more breath. If you've released your hands to your heels, bring them back to your hips and slowly walk your gaze back up. Eventually coming to center. Release that block if you've got one, and sit your hips back on your heels. Take your hands on top of your thighs and breathe. Good, 2 more breaths. And last one. Now from there, we'll cross our ankles. And then let's extend the legs. So I'm actually just going to extend one leg, my right leg long. My left foot is going to come on my inner thigh. And then from there, I'm going to take more of a side body stretch here. So instead of gazing right toward my foot, I'm going to gaze more toward my knee, my bent knee. I'm going to reach toward my foot. Wherever I connect is okay. And then from there, I'm going to lift the opposite arm up and just let it be heavy. Drawing it away from my ear. Just really sinking into it. Pressing my left hip down more. One more breath. And then lift up. And then from there, I'm going to just kind of twist over to the left. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. So extend the left leg long. The right knee is bent, the foot is on the inner thigh. I'm going to face more toward my right knee. I extend my left arm long to reach toward my foot. And then from there, my right arm is going to come up and over and just kind of hang there. Rooting down through the right hip. Finding a breath. It's balanced and full. One more breath. And then let's rise up. And we're going to just do a little twist over toward the right knee. And then come to center. Now I'm going to extend my right leg again. Bring my left foot toward my inner thigh for Janu Shirshasana. But this time, take my left hand behind me. And then I'm going to take my right arm straight and reach across my body. Lift my hips, come onto my shin, and open up for gate. Really press down into the mat with the left hand. I'm just finding that beautiful opening. Finding that expansiveness. Each breath in, really expanding through the body. And then slowly come out the way I went in, sweeping the hand down, drawing the hips back down. And then other side. So from here, my left leg is extended, my right knee is bent, right foot on the inner thigh, right hand behind me. Extend the left arm long, sweep it up and around. And just lifting the hips high. Feeling that openness through the heart, reaching it up. Finding power in that openness. And then sweep it down away you went in. Good. All right, now from here, let's extend both legs long. If you have a block, take it next to your mat so that you have it when we come into our next pose. If you don't worry about it. And then from there, I'm also going to make sure my blanket's nearby in case I want to use it in Shavasana. I'm going to reach long and slowly lower down, nice and slow and controlled, finding a lot of core strength and then releasing. And then from here, moving into bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana, bend my knees, plant my feet down. And then what I'm going to do, we're going to use the prop for this, but first, let me move this so you can see my hips. My heels are close to my fingers, and when I get into the pose, I'm going to keep my gaze straight up. So if you're not familiar, look first and then go into it. But what I want you to do to begin is to just slightly tuck your tailbone and just not even really lift. Maybe like enough where you could take a piece of paper and just bring it underneath your hips. And then slowly release down. Then tuck and release. Good. One more time. Tuck and release. This time I'm going to tuck. I'm going to keep tucking, draw up, pressing down into my heels and drawing up more and more and more. And then eventually my heart comes to chase my chin. My chin kind of stays away from my heart. And my heart reaches more, pressing more into my heels. And one more breath. And slowly come down the way you went in. So starting with the top of the spine and articulating all the way down until you get to your tailbone. And then from there, take your feet as wide as the mat and drop your knees together. Just take a moment to just relax into it. Good, and then from there, let's step the feet back underneath the knees, and we're going to sit up for bridge with a block. But to start, we're going to slightly lift the hips, just like you're going to take a piece of paper under it. So you're really kind of activating here through your core to lift the hips, and then from there, you're going to lengthen all the way up. So I can take this block to a really low point and take it underneath my sacrum and just really soften into it, medium height, or I can go all the way up. So it's kind of what you're looking for. Today, that actually feels really good today to me. Usually I don't go all the way up. But you're taking it right at the sacrum, so base, low back, and it's going to allow you to kind of soften more into it. So I mentioned trying to relax into groundlessness, being open with it. That's this pose right here. And breathe. You always have your breath to come back to. One more. To come out, you got to press a little bit into your feet. just enough to release that block. And then from there, melt all the way down. Once you get all the way down, take your feet as wide as the mat and then just drop your knees to the left, and then to the right, and then the left. Just a couple more times each direction. And then take your feet together, knees apart for Supta Baddha Konasana. And let's take one hand to our belly, one to our heart, and breathe. Good, one more breath here. I can hear the sound of the melting snow outside, just dribbling on the gutters and the roof. It sounds really nice. And it's exciting because it means that there's some warmer weather ahead. And one more breath. And then from there, let's draw the knees in tight to the chest. Squeeze in. And then we're going to take, you can do whatever version of supine twist you'd like. I'm going to keep my knees together, and then you can take your arms, goalpost them, or extend them long, up to you. Drop your knees to the left first and gaze across the right shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. So knees are right, gaze is left here. And just kind of grounding down, really softening down. And then inhale back to center. Hug the knees in tight one more time. And then we're going to extend out to Final Shavasana. So you have a couple options here. You might just come flat here and then just kind of tuck your shoulders underneath to lift your heart just ever so slightly. Just this gesture of openness. Or you might come back to the blanket or towel, whatever it is you're using, and lay back on it. And just see how that feels differently here at the end of your flow. So, finding ourselves relaxing into groundlessness here. With the heart open and lifted, the breath flowing, not holding back, but finding fullness with each and every exhale and inhale. Let's rest here. I'll call you out when it's time. And begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Just bringing back some gentle movement. When you're ready, reach your arms long behind you. Press your toes forward, stretch it out. If you're on that blanket, roll over to the side. And just rest your head here on your bicep in the supported fetal position. And breathe. And then we'll press ourselves up into a comfortable seated position. And close your eyes. Take your hands to your heart center. Let's end with one last breath together. Exhale everything out first. Deep inhale. And exhale. And take your thumbs up to third eye center. The light in me honors the light within each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Be well, everyone.